100 people marched through the streets of Johannesburg this weekend, calling for an end to xenophobia. They demonstrated under the banner of the group Kopanang Africa Against Xenophobia, and they had the backing of several organizations. At first, their march had been halted by a court order brought by Joburg Metro Police amid concerns over threats and safety. The order was then overturned in court on Friday, and Kopanang's chairperson, General Moyo, finally led the picket. He joins us now live. Mr. Moyo, thank you so much for joining us. I don't know if you've seen some of the visuals coming from the Rudaput Magistrates Court, but as you can see there, supporters of Operation Dudula's in Nhlanhla Dlamini are really quite strong and getting quite spirited.
Yes, I've seen the visuals of the demonstration that the report in support of Nhlanhla.
Why was your march initially not allowed to go ahead?
I think that's the one problem that we are still facing with the city of Johannesburg, with the political influence sometimes and its bylaws that they are infringing upon the right to protest.
General, can you just give us an idea of how much support you have from your organizations and the communities you represent? Because while your march may have not had so many numbers, it's difficult to use that as a litmus test of what's actually happening on the ground.
Up to so far, since the Kopanang is still a fairly new movement of formation, we are endorsed by over 35 formations, including civil society organizations.
Mr. Moyo, what is the feeling amongst migrants at the moment in townships around Joburg? Is this what prompted you to march on Saturday?
I think the migrants are still living under fear and threats around what is happening and direct attack that they are still subjected to. And those are the things that are not giving them any assurance of any safety that is or that should be guaranteed to them. So that is why they are still not actually clear of what is happening around them. But most of them on Saturday managed at least to see that they are not alone. They are having some other people that are raising the flag of unity around this issue of xenophobia.
Mr. Moyo, are you witnessing a lot of attacks against people who are not from South Africa or not South African locals? And if so, can you give us some details of those incidents?
I can take you back from the first incidents of xenophobia from 2008, as I'm a resident in informal settlement in the east of Joburg. And if you still remember, the incidents of the Burning Man happened right next to my neighborhood, which is Ramaphosa. So those incidents takes me back and still sticks, in our heads as we are reminded by those that are still pushing those narratives to still continue some of those things. Even though we should be, or we're thinking that those incidents when they were happening in 2008 were some coincidence or were mistakes. But now there are groups that are forming themselves and legally coming out to say, we are pushing for these narratives and we are pushing and operating in this format. So this is actually against the law and totally out of order. It should not be something that it can be allowed.
All right, that was Kopanang's chairperson, and that group is anti-xenophobia, quite the opposite of Operation Dudula. General Moyo, thank you so much for joining us.